a true legend in the Indian Navy with over 28 years of leadership, Commodore CP Roshan.
AI-driven surveillance, maritime surveillance, where you fuse the satellite inputs, the AIS inputs, and all the
Right.
gives the commander a real-time living and breathing input of the ocean.
What stands out here is how you balance the human side of leadership with strategy, and that's rare and powerful.
Technology possibly gives us a foresight, but leadership gives us the judgment to use it well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, brought to you by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Charu Mehra, and today we have a very special guest with us. Our guest today isn't just a leader, he's a force to be reckoned with in the world of maritime operations. Joining us is retired Commodore CP Roshan, a true legend in the Indian Navy with over 28 years of leadership that spans everything from high stakes fleet management to digital transformation in maritime operations. Commodore Roshan's journey is one of grit, resilience, and strategic brilliance. From leading crisis operations like Operation Blossom and Operation Rahat, which saw over 4,000 civilians evacuated from war zones, to revolutionizing sustainability practices in the naval fleet. He's done it all. He's a leader whose legacy speaks volumes, and we're lucky to have him here today. Commodore Roshan, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. It's an absolute honor to have you here.
Thank you, Charu, for the introduction, and I'm equally delighted to be here. I'd like to share that when I first transitioned from the Navy, a friend asked me what next after the oceans and maritime operations. So I remember replying, I'm just changing the uniform and not the mission.
Wow.
Indeed, excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, sir. I'm looking forward to having a wonderful discussion with you today. Commodore CP Roshan, 28 years in the Indian Navy, leading some of the most challenging operations transformations. That's no small feat. But every leader has a starting point. Can you take us back to the early days of your career? How did those early days shape the leader that you are today?
So, Charu, like many young aspirants in the time, the pristine white uniform of the Navy and the famous tagline those days, join the Navy and see the world, really caught my imagination. Clearing the UPSC and joining the National Defense Academy felt like a dream. So I do still remember the pressure of the 12th standard board exams those days, and the myth that joining the armed forces you didn't have to study anymore after that. So, actually, but then subsequently, the real spark actually came after my first sea deployment. I can still see it standing on the bridge one night, the ship cutting through the dark waves, stars stretching endlessly above. And that's where the moment came in, a profound sense of purpose. You know, it wasn't just about an adrenaline fueled adventure anymore, it was about responsibility, discipline, and leadership.
Right.
So, subsequently, as a cadet in the National Defense Academy, I was extremely fortunate to hear Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw speak on two occasions. Lucky for that, in the span of 6 months. He said to us, never hesitate to act and to take decisions, and never get into a situation where you can't take a decision.
Right.
So he also asked us to trust our training and upbringing to get these decisions, and he would say that these decisions would be right 90% of the time. So, as I went about my career, I believe my ability to take decisions stemmed from my belief in the field marshal's advice so early in life.
Right.
So, and also mentorship, I believe, played a pivotal role in shaping my leadership approach. So, when I was training, Charu, one speech a senior admiral had gave to us, stayed with me for a long time. He said, when you end your day, you should have no energy left. And only then you would know that you've done your duty. He also qualified by saying that you would have done your job only when you earn the trust of your captain.
Wow.
So these words crystallized two enduring principles from each other. First,
Mm-hmm.
leadership by example. You must walk the talk. And
Great.
secondly, it is an inescapable thing, the importance of professional competence. So one has to master his or her craft as a professional first and
Right.
as a leader. So the ship's captain would never trust an incompetent subordinate.
Wow,
So that's the two lessons that I learned from this, Charu. Besides,
sir.
yeah, my captains have always taught me the culture of openness,
Mm-hmm.
humility, accepting of
Yes.
fault, and continuous learning. Later, as a captain myself, I carried these lessons forward. I fostered a culture where mistakes weren't taboo, but stepping stones to resilience and
Wow.
operational excellence, actually.
Wow. Wow.
So, mentoring my crew became my personal priority and the focus area, the best way I thought to pay it back forward. So, as far as the world outside the military is concerned, Charu, I later on in my career, a book that has a profound influence on me is
Mhm.
one written by Girish Kuber. It's a Marathi book translated into English. It's called The Tatas: How a Family Built a Business and a Nation.
Okay.
What frankly resonated deeply in me was that seamless integration for care for the people
Mm-hmm.
and an unwavering focus on mission success. So both
Right.
go hand in hand is what the message the book reinforced.
Right.
So it also reminded me that leadership is measured not just by results,
Mm-hmm.
but by the trust and resilience you build in the people you lead.
Agreed. Agreed.
So that's about it. Charu, these experiences shaped me, and as my responsibilities grew, I carried these principles forward, and these experiences shaped me as a leader.
Wow, wonderful, sir. And you really created a powerful image, and it almost feel like I was right there with you in that moment when you talked about you were standing and looking at the stars. And I really love how you shared not just the wins but also the doubts. That's really rare and very real. And also, I can see that whatever learnings you had, it kind of has a parallel with the world outside your outside navy, because the learnings that you had there sort of carry on forward with you in the corporate world. So that
Absolutely.
parallel that you build, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, Charu, that's what I have realized over a period of time that there are a lot of symmetries between what we do in the armed forces and the corporate world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us, sir.
Pleasure, Charu.
So let's dive into your leadership journey, Commodore. You've led operations that involve everything from managing massive fleets to coordinating international rescue missions. What was one of the most difficult decisions you had to make in one of those moments? And how did your leadership style adapt to those intense, high pressure situations?
Okay, thank you, Charu, for the question. Actually, there have been many, but
Sure.
one that comes to mind is a recent one. That was when I was commanding a ship off the western coast.
Mhm.
We were off the western coast, and it was the height of the monsoons. So you can appreciate those rough seas. The sea was indeed very angry, and the wind relentless. So I had an important mission, which was to fuel a ship proceeding on an anti-piracy deployment. As you
Okay.
understand, that the ships, when at sea, they fuel whilst they are moving. So it's
Moving.
more critical. The situations can get critical.
Right,
The leadership
right.
challenge here was whether to risk the crew and refuel a ship or compromise on the anti-piracy mission. So that was the problem that I had. At that moment, the stakes for me were quite clear. The an important operational task that's an anti-piracy mission, but one that could affect the lives of my crew.
Agreed.
So the initial risk assessment was from my team was that it was dangerous and not recommended.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did feel the weight of this decision acutely. I had to prioritize crew safety, but it
Agreed.
meant delaying a critical mission. Now, anti-piracy
Mhm.
means lives on the other side, possibly.
Right,
You know,
right.
so this was the challenge that I faced. And proceeding meant my crew would have to go through certain life-threatening conditions, which was not a situation that I would have dealt with.
Right.
I admit, even I hesitated. I second guessed myself. I ran through worst case scenarios and thinking
Mm-hmm.
about my responsibility as a captain, which is
Mm-hmm.
primarily the safety of my ship and the men and women
Yes.
under my command.
Yes.
So, at this time, you need certain doctrines and basics to come to your assistance. So, I recall two things that gave me a lot of clarity here. Firstly, very early in my life, I had a talk by a former vice chief of the Navy during my training.
Mm-hmm.
So, he told us that every armed forces personnel is training for an exam that one hopes will never take place.
Wow.
That exam is war. So, it was my responsibility to train my personnel for war. What would they do if a situation like this happened in war?
Exactly.
So
Right.
that is one thing. Secondly, a little bit of a Hollywood instance here. Happened to see the movie Master and Commander.
Mhm.
There's a Captain Aubrey as a central character there. He
Right.
navigates the rough seas, he balances his duty, the risk management, the lives of his crew, and finally he does what he has to do. So I put myself in that position. So these were my anchors at that time. And leadership is
Right.
not about having all the answers. You don't have the answers all the time.
Agreed.
About creating clarity and enabling our teams to act with that much of confidence. That's
Right.
one part of leadership. So instead of going ahead saying a plain yes or no, I shifted my approach. Instead of having
Mm-hmm.
a more command and control approach, I started engaging my crew a little more deeply.
Okay.
So we reviewed the ship's capabilities, our contingency plans, our safety oversights, and their confidence levels.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed a lot of risk management. We debated alternatives and built collective trust. Together, we
Mm-hmm.
decided to then proceed.
Wow.
And the operation was extremely grueling, Charu. Multiple failed attempts, equipment
Wow.
challenges, relentless weather. But at the end of it, we succeeded finally.
You succeeded. Wow.
And more importantly, the exercise also reshaped how I led under pressure. This
Yes.
is a high stakes moment. These are high stakes moments, and it's all about balancing authority with empowerment, delegating responsibilities, and importantly, also calmness with decisiveness. A little bit of planning and agility and
Yes.
adaptability with the crew as well.
Agreed.
So, looking back, Charu, leadership is all about, I think, resilience, preparation, importantly, enabling our teams to rise to the challenge. So,
Yes.
whether at sea or in the boardroom, I guess the principles, as we discussed earlier, are just the same:
Same.
clarity, trust, empowerment, delegation. These are the aspects that can handle possibly the worst of storms.
Absolutely. And I can't even imagine what you must have gone through at that time. I'm personally I'm really scared of large water bodies. So but
Yeah.
but what stands out here is how you balance the human side of leadership with strategy, and that's rare and powerful. And I also love how you made that connection between high stakes naval calls and how leaders in any industry face tough crossroads. So
Absolutely.
uh, congratulations on that success, sir, and thank you for sharing such your insights with us. That was really
It's a
insightful.
pleasure. That's the one of the things I think we can give back to the system that nurtured us. Actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful. All right. So you've been a pioneer in integrating AI and predictive maintenance into maritime operations, which is no small task. How do you see technology like AI and predictive analytics reshaping the future of naval operations? Can you share a specific example where technology had a major impact on operational efficiency or safety?
Yeah, surely, Charu. What I'd like to say first of all is that, in modern navies, incorporating AI these days is not a luxury. It's
It's a
actually the
need.
difference between reacting and anticipating, you know. So, I had this opportunity towards the end of my career to undertake a study on logistic support for fleet maintenance.
Okay.
And that's where I saw the real power of AI,
Yeah.
wherein there's a shift from reactive maintenance to predictive logistics.
Right.
So
Right.
traditionally, the way you see it, spare parts procurement is based on historical patterns and OEM recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
seagoing platforms have a mind of their own. They don't fail
Right.
in schedule.
Agreed.
They fail when you least want them to.
Right.
We call it sometimes the cruel sea. So, so one instance that stayed with me was a deployment in the Indian Ocean wherein I had a breakdown in propulsion. And our inventory and maintenance model flagged an unusual consumption trend in propulsion sub-assemblies,
Mhm.
Frankly, it was a pattern that was buried in data, very
Okay.
difficult to ascertain at a human scale. On many occasions, also, because sometimes platforms are a single platform. You don't have so many platforms to get data sets. So data
Right.
sets are insufficient to undertake predictive analytics. So this is where we thought it necessary to consider tapping into the resource of friendly partner navies.
Mm.
So, an AI model, therefore, based on pooled data sets from our fleet,
Mhm. Mhm.
friendly partner navies, and the OEMs put together, probably, can essentially tell us that this component will fail early, keep a spare
Right.
on board.
Mm.
Then in the ocean, there's no Amazon or Flipkart to
Agreed.
these stuff, right? So, but at the same time, Charu, this is not all hunky dory,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, as you said, there is going to be skepticism, and sensors are going to be erratic, data formats are going to be mismatched, we are going to have false positives. So once the data is cleaned, harmonized, inputs obtained from the various platforms, and integrated, more importantly, with human in loop checks, the
Mhm.
results are fabulous. They're remarkable. What used to take 2 to 3 weeks of manual reconciliation across depots, across dockyards, would become a live, real-time input.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Demand, it's like a demands, it would become a demand-aware supply chain. So downtime forecasts, can be cut down by days or probably possibly months. And
Mhm.
the very expensive ritual of overstocking for a just-in-case situation
Okay.
can be totally eliminated. So this is the
Wow.
advantage of how. But I, instead of looking at it from a more technical angle, I'd like to look at it from a leadership lesson.
Mhm.
AI didn't replace the logistics or a maintenance people.
Right.
It just empowered them for
Empowered.
fleet management.
Right.
So
Right.
this is one thing I can think of. The other thing I can think of is maritime domain awareness, like surveillance of the oceans.
Okay.
Before AI, this activity meant thousands of images, radar tracks, inputs from the AIS, inputs from the fishing fleet, etc., etc.
Mhm.
So now, yeah, in an AI-driven, AI-driven surveillance, maritime surveillance, wherein you fuse the satellite inputs, the AIS inputs, and all the inputs,
Right.
gives the commander a real-time living and breathing input of the ocean, or the
Agreed.
picture of the ocean.
Right.
So
Right.
the other advantages of incorporating AI in, day-to-day activities. Of course, again here there's a cultural resistance at first. It is technicians find it difficult to trust the algorithm.
Agreed.
And commanders are worried about false alarms, and rightly so, because a false alarm can be expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there is a need to pilot small, show small, quick wins, clarify
Right.
override rules, and
Right.
make sure, more importantly, that the man behind the machine knows that AI isn't deciding, it is informing and alerting.
Right.
So once a
Right.
few alerts actually prevent accidents, then the adoption of AI becomes a little more organic. It's nothing more different from what the airlines would do for their fleet maintenance or what
Mhm.
Amazon would do in terms of their supply chain. So, having said that, I'd like to possibly, end this thing by saying that, again, giving a leadership angle to this, technology possibly gives us a foresight, but leadership gives us the judgment to use it well.
Wow, yes, yes, yes. That was such a remarkable balance of technology and leadership. It truly brings the impact to life. And also, when you talked about pushbacks, so there with anything new, there will be pushbacks. There will be, people will be, uh, you know, s- uh, I should say people will not accept change
Yeah,
immediately, but as a leader, it's your job to how to make it easier for them and easier for them to accept it. And you did a job well, sir. Congratulations on
thank you
that.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. All right. So you've optimized everything from logistics to fleet management, all while ensuring sustainability. With the growing demand of green operations, how do you strike that balance between operational excellence and environmental responsibility, especially in a sector like maritime where the stakes are so high?
Yeah, that's a fabulous question, Charu. That's the flavor of the season, and
Absolutely.
thank you so much for that. And I'm pretty passionate about this.
Mm-hmm.
For years, Charu, people believed, efficiency and sustainability were at odds with each other. But
Right.
there's something I learned at sea that they are actually inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
As an instance, one moment that shaped my thinking towards this aspect was during a long range deployment in rough seas. We were under pressure to maintain readiness, stay within tight fuel limits. Okay. And traditionally, this would have meant a compromise, cut speed, reduce systems, hope nothing breaks down, and
Right.
etc. But instead, we started a different approach. We used data-led route planning, power optimization on board. We sought the say cooperation of everyone on board. We just didn't meet the mission. We saved thousands and thousands of liters of fuel without losing operational tempo.
Wow.
Now, that was my turning point. Now, sustainability wasn't a restraint anymore. It became an efficiency tool.
Right.
Right. So, you rightly brought out previously that change is not smooth at all. So,
Absolutely.
what it didn't start smoothly. What When we pushed for fuel efficient practices, the reaction was sometimes mixed. So, green is synonymous to some people these days with costly, slow, risky, etc., etc.
Yes.
And engineer,
Yes.
rightly said, and engineer would be worried about the new system that would reduce endurance. The
Mm.
operational and logistics team may not be very comfortable with the new route, and upfront cost seems a little high initially. But that could
Yes.
possibly a valley. But then the breakthrough comes when you treat it as an operational advantage rather than
Mhm.
a compliance exercise.
Agreed.
So we built again. We got to start small here. We built small
Mhm.
pilots, tracked fuel burn, etc.
Right.
The
Right.
crew sees that lower emissions also means fewer breakdowns and extended
Mhm.
time. The culture changes, and that's what we need to target.
Right. Right.
This it's at a broader level. That's where leadership also matters. Sustainability, we could enforce it, but we got to align it with pride, with purpose, with ethics, with performance.
Right.
I would often tell my teams that the ocean is a theater of operations and it's our partner.
Wow.
You don't have to be scared of the ocean.
Scared of.
So it helps when Indian mythology includes an ocean god. That's Lord Varuna.
Yes. Yes.
So you got to keep the temple clean.
Right.
So,
Right.
so when sailors actually understand that reducing emissions also means quieter signatures, longer deployments, safer
Mm.
machinery, adoption stopped being a directive and became a part of our culture.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
what we need to target, Chan.
Absolutely. And Commodore Roshan, the balance that you described, turning sustainability into a strength rather than a trade-off, is truly inspiring.
Thank
And
you.
what I found striking was your candor about the resistance and setbacks. That honesty made the success even more powerful. So
Yeah,
thank you for that.
true that, true that. But in fact, yeah, going a little further, I
Mhm.
personally believe navies worldwide must take bolder steps. Like using methanol and low emission fuels, shifting to electric, hybrid,
Right.
and something that possibly, in my view, is the next generation technology, exploring hydrogen-based technologies, and not
Okay.
as experiments, but as doctrine. And that's when
Mhm.
the concept becomes a little more powerful.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So you've led teams through both everyday operations and life or death crisis. What's your secret to keeping morale high in tough times? How do you build a culture of trust and resilience when things get challenging?
So, Charu, this is a difficult one, but let me try. Okay, try to put it in a manner that I best can. So, Charu, in a real crisis, I think that the first failure is not the machinery, it's morale.
Absolutely.
And it is difficult to hold it together once it cracks.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So the effort towards this is the underlining thing that I think, the effort towards high morale, camaraderie, esprit de corps, etc., is a day-to-day affair, especially in good times.
Right. Right.
So now let me cite an example. One night during a long deployment, we were caught in a brutal storm.
Oh my God.
My ship was pitching hard, and one of our critical systems went offline.
Mhm.
And we had been at sea for weeks.
Oh my God.
In the ship's living quarter, one could feel the silence, not fear,
Mhm.
but that is fatigue. Yeah, and this kind of quiet is actually more dangerous than noise
Then.
because it tells you that people have gone inward, So
Yes.
something that you got to be careful about. So
Mhm.
let me admit, I felt the weight of this the issue at hand. So when morale dips, Charu, it's not dramatic, it's not visible, it's invisible, right? So fewer
Yes.
conversations, short tempers, people are eating fast and disappearing. So
Disappearing.
these are the things
Yes.
that happens. You got to feel the pulse of your men and sense it before you see it, right? So in such times, the team is not looking for speeches, no grandiose speeches or something there. They are looking for your presence.
Yes.
Yeah. So one does something very simple, Charu, like what you and I would do in normal situations. Go on deck, be with your crisis management teams.
Mhm.
Let them do their job.
Yes.
Spread calmness, encourage them, and if required, stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Yeah. I walked the ship, spoke to people one by one. I told them exactly what we knew and what we didn't.
Right.
Right. And that transparency steadies nerves more than any pep talk that can actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So over the years, Charu, I learned, if I may use the word, my morale toolkit. So it wasn't built on motivation. It's built on a couple of habits. One is transparency.
Mhm.
Tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable.
Agreed.
It's something that boosts morale because you're all on the same platform. There's nothing hidden,
Absolutely.
right?
Right. Right.
Certainty absolutely lowers anxiety, and honesty builds trust.
Mhm.
Second is presence over posturing. The presence is more important over posturing. When things
Right.
are tough, just don't disappear. When things are not okay, don't disappear. Be with your men.
Deal.
Walk the passageway. You stand in the rain with them,
Right.
right? The next thing that I can think of is ritual over rhetoric. A shared meal, a joke, a quick check-in, walk rotation, asking him whether he's had his cup of tea.
Right.
Small signals people
Small things.
remember, and they feel heard, listened, and understood. And
And it makes a lot of difference as well.
absolutely, Charu. And the one thing that I learned from people above me, or the senior naval officers above me, was that training is the best thing you can do for morale. The spirits may be high, but if the mind doesn't know how to use the equipment, nothing can be done. So training and morale are both complementary to each other. So it is not just unique to warships, Charu. It's CEOs who are facing layoffs, startup founders who are cash strapped,
Agreed.
ICU teams during a disease outbreak. We've
Right.
COVID.
Right.
All of them fight the same invisible battle.
Mm.
Keeping the human spirit intact when the situation hopeless is a crucial aspect of maintaining this morale.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what I'd like to say, Charu, is morale, like what I initially said. We spoke about morale is not being built in crisis; it is revealed in crisis. It is
Absolutely.
built on the ordinary days, in the way people are treated in good times, when the sun is shining on you, long before the things go wrong.
Right.
So morale is not about cheering people up or something like that. It is showing them that you stand with them,
With them. Mm.
whatever comes. It is that
Wow.
anchor of resilience.
Wow. Wow. Commodore Roshan, that was such a powerful reminder that, as you said, resilience is built in small, everyday moments of trust
Yeah,
and
it is.
not just
Yeah,
in the difficult times. And
can't
your
be beat.
honesty,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And your honesty about the valleys and doubts makes the lesson so real and relatable. So, thank you for sharing that with
I'm
us.
glad we're having this fabulous discussion.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we're switching gears for a quick, fun, and rapid fire round. Ready to
I'm
go?
looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right, there are no wrong or right answers here, just whatever comes to your mind first.
Yeah, go ahead, shoot away.
Okay, the first one. What's the last book or podcast you couldn't stop listening to or reading?
I think it would be a Napoleon Hill podcast called Have No Fear. I've been listening to it a lot these days.
Okay, wow, that's really nice. All right, next one. If you could teleport anywhere right now, where would you go?
Right now?
Yes, right
Yeah,
now.
well, then I'll have to leave this podcast. But if that was an option, I would probably head to the Spiti Valley. I've been thinking about photographing the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's been something on my.
Is photography one of your passions?
It
You
is,
like
it is,
something
it
you
is.
like to do? Wow, that's really wonderful. Okay, next one. What's your favorite comfort food?
Are you from Bombay?
I am not from Bombay, but I have family in Bombay, so I know
Yeah,
Bombay
okay.
a lot.
So you'll relate to this. It's chai and bun maska.
Ah, bun maska and chai is wonderful.
I grew up in Bombay, so like grew up in the
Okay,
sense the early part of my career has been in Bombay. So yeah, it's
all right.
yeah.
Okay, next one. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
So you're asking me for one figure?
One for now.
Historical figure? Yeah. Let me be a little greedy here, Charu. I'll take two.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
if you allow me that,
okay.
I'll take J.R.D. Tata and Sam Manekshaw.
Wow.
Just for two things, there are a couple of things, if I can, that come to my mind. Their passion, their drive, the courage of conviction and compassion for people around them. These two people really have influenced me. A dinner with them would be great.
Wow, that'll be a one very informative and very knowledgeable dinner, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
Okay, what's something on your bucket list that you haven't checked off yet?
Bucket list, I think I'll stick to travel here. And Scandinavia has been on my bucket list for a
Wow.
while. Basically, Sweden, Norway, and Iceland. Kind
Wow.
of areas that
Wow.
I haven't visited so far. To join the Navy, see the world is generally done. But this area, somehow, I think needs some attention from me.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, next one. A movie or TV show you can watch over and over again.
Oh, that's an easy one. The Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, yeah. You can start anytime, and I think I can tell you the dialogues before they even spoken.
All right, okay, next one. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Uh, Charu, I'm a huge fan of Test cricket, and I'm not that much inclined to the white ball cricket. So I love watching the highlights of a closely fought Test match. So
Wow, that's
I,
that's very specific.
yeah, I do that very often, and in particular, I've seen umpteen times that the 2021 Border Gavaskar Trophy, the recent
Okay.
fourth test against England. Basically,
Mm,
I feel that Test cricket is a test of your great spirit, courage, and resilience. Something that is
resilience.
not so apparent in the white ball cricket. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
Right. All right. So
something.
last one.
Yeah.
Three words your friend would use to describe you.
One would be say dependable, diplomatic, and perhaps a foodie.
Wow. These are good qualities. Very nice.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I
All
guess so.
right.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic and most candid rapid fire round, sir. And we've got a peek into the personal side of Commodore CP Roshan from your comfort food to your travel dreams.
Thank you so
Thank
much. I
you for
think those lovely
sharing.
questions as well, So, lovely questions. Yeah.
Thank you for being candid with us. So, Commodore Roshan, the maritime and defense sectors are no strangers to scams and fraudulent activities, whether it's fake contractors, misleading contracts, or other forms of deceit. With your extensive leadership experience, have you ever encountered a scam or a fraudulent situation during your career? And if you did, how did you navigate that? And what can leaders in the maritime or defense industries do to protect themselves and their teams from falling victim to such schemes?
Uh, so, Charu, look, in the Navy, a financial impropriety doesn't just cost money, you know, it can cost readiness,
Right.
damage reputations that are built over decades, and sometimes it can cost lives.
Yes.
So that's why scams are not an administrative issue, it's an operational threat.
Yeah.
I'd like to look at a scam or a financial impropriety in that light.
Mm-hmm.
So to be candid, Charu, I've never had a scam directly on my desk, and I'm grateful for it.
Right.
So, but I've seen a couple of close calls. One instance involved a set of maintenance spares where possibly the documentation looked okay, but one of my junior officers noticed a certain issues with the invoices and delivery logs. So that observation alone triggered a deeper review from my side, and
Mm-hmm.
more than me, it was my juniors who were doing it, who were doing a fabulous review of that.
Right.
And luckily for us, it didn't turn out to be a fraud, but it exposed process gaps that could
Mm-hmm.
be exploited.
Right.
Now here, I'd like to credit my my juniors. What mattered most was the response by them, and instead of brushing it aside, they conducted a targeted audit. They paused the
Okay.
release of funds. They
Mm.
verified the vendor credentials, and through various other independent channels, they ascertained the credibility of the vendor. So we tightened the procurement workflow, with supply background verifications, and things like that through an independent oversight team as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like to say is that small incident didn't blow up because vigilance kicked in before the damage could settle. Okay?
Right.
That's the lesson I'd like to draw. The more vigilant you are, the more aware you are, and the more you spread the awareness among your subordinates,
Right.
resilient you are to these scams. Right.
Absolutely.
And I must, I'm grateful that I had, very credible juniors who helped me out with this. And that's the broader lesson. Good governance is not reactive, it's preventive. Right. So scams, Charu, the way I see it, they don't arrive with a flashing red light.
Oh, absolutely.
They hide in, say, you can call it routine, in trust, and very often in something like the system must have cleared it earlier.
Mhm.
Okay. So from a leadership, you asked me the last part of your question was how do you prevent this? So
Right.
I'll talk about it from a leadership perspective. So I would rather approach a scam on similar lines that my juniors taught me. So it would be transparency. If something looks
Mhm.
off, don't worry. You surface.
No.
People must know that questioning a document is not insubordination; it's duty. Secondly, it's important to have I would call it a fair process. Because
Mhm.
suspicion doesn't, make someone guilty. And it's important for you to protect a reputation. So you cannot create a culture of integrity by witch hunting.
Agreed.
So fact finding must be documented. It must be
Right.
partial. It must be respectful, especially when reputations are involved.
Um,
False accusation can damage reputations.
Absolutely.
So, in addition to that, it's often said that you lead by example. If I would cut corners, everyone else will. And if
Agreed.
so, it's important for people higher up in the chain to insist on financial propriety, and take the rest will take their cue from that. So,
Right.
having said that, Charu, let me broaden the scope here. It's not unique to navies.
Agreed.
Yards, logistic companies, port operators, aviation maintenance firms, all of them rely on high value procurement chains.
Right. Right.
Deception can creep in anywhere. And it is, for us to apply safeguards, verify by third party, have some credible whistleblower channels, I've read team audits and
Right.
contract clauses that require a lot of proof of delivery before promises appear on paper. So I'd like to finish this off by saying that I often said to my younger officers, we don't just guard the seas, we guard the taxpayers' trust in us.
Wow.
Right, that is important to us, because we are here because of you, all those who pay the taxes to the government,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that means governance and financial property are not a compliance matter;
Right.
it is a combat support system. And
Wow.
that's the approach I'd like to take as far as these scams are concerned.
Wow, wow. The Commodore Roshan, thank you. That was a clear, sober look at how governance can protect both mission and people. And
Absolutely.
what struck me was the combination of process and humanity in your response. That's leadership in action.
I'm
So
glad
thank
you
you for
asked that
sharing your
question.
views with us. Commodore Roshan, we know that you've been a leader in the Indian Navy, but you've also recently joined Directors Institute. How has your experience been so far? What motivated you to join, and in what ways has Directors Institute's approach shaped or enhanced your leadership perspective?
So Charu, after I've spent about 3 decades in the Navy, and personally for me, I realized the next frontier for me was not about ships or fleets. It was about doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I like to educate myself, to be able to apply myself differently,
Right.
use my experience to help organizations steer themselves with things that I've learned in the Navy: integrity,
Mm-hmm.
resilience, and long-term strategy. I was
Right.
I was a part of the Navy's long-term thinking team for a long time.
Okay. Okay.
So these insights, Charu, drew me to the Directors Institute. So I saw what I did see is a direct alignment between the Navy's culture that I imbibe on accountability, ethics, mission readiness, and the Directors Institute's focus on governance, board responsibility, and strategic foresight. That's the syllabus. So I
Yes.
just want to learn how these leadership principles, which I had honed at sea, could translate into the boardroom where the stakes are equally high. I say equally high because you have brand values to protect,
Absolutely.
reputations to protect, financial responsibilities to the stakeholders, and
Right.
societal
Right.
responsibilities as well. And these are no small things. So I wanted to apply myself differently, and Directors Institute sounded the right uh, place to knock because of all these things. So one moment that really stood out was that during a governance simulation, we were asked to balance short-term financial pressures against long-term stakeholder and ESG impact.
Okay.
Okay. So I struggled at first, but look, in the Navy, decisions are often immediate, high stakes, and operational.
Yes.
And translating that mindset to a corporate setup was not easy. So I realized that I'm once again a young naval officer. So, yeah, this time in the corporate governance.
Well,
So, but then as the situation unfolded, the simulation unfolded, I saw a lot of parallels. Like just like a fleet must be ready today, and this doesn't come immediately. It comes from maintaining ships and crew readiness over
right.
decades.
Mhm.
Just like that, it's a long gestation period. Likewise, a company must deliver quarterly results while it has to safeguard its own reputation,
Right.
has to
Right.
comply with a lot of things. It has to be sustainable, and there are umpteen long-term issues. So
Mhm.
here I saw a synergy. So that was a eureka moment for me that connected operational discipline to ethical governance across
Mhm.
industries.
Right.
And the Directors Institute seemed to be the right place for that. Then looking further, these experiences have also reinforced something that I believe, discipline, accountability, complement governance perfectly.
Right.
Right. Naval discipline teaches clarity of responsibility, structured processes, and rigorous oversights. The same happens in the boardroom as
Corporate
well,
day.
right?
Yes.
So that was the platform that Directors Institute sought to give me. And finally, I see that ships and companies are no different, Chavi. Both sink when governance fails, and both thrive when leadership is ethical. leadership is discipline,
Yes,
and
yes.
there is resilience. So, what made me motivate, or what motivated me to
Motivate.
join the Directors Institute is their belief in these principles and the approach to enable the participants to resolve the problems according to these principles.
Right. Wow, wow. Thank you for that wonderful feedback about the Institute, sir.
Yes.
And that perspective beautifully captures how military discipline and boardroom governance actually complement each other. So thank you for sharing that with us, and I wish you all the best for your future goals that you've set for yourselves. And I'm really inspired that after serving so many years in the Navy, you're still looking forward to learning something new and contributing to the society. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Charu. It's been fabulous talking to you, and you actually set my thinking cap on, and compliments for that. It's been a fabulous discussion with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And that wraps up today's incredible episode of FaceTime with Leaders. Commodore CP Roshan, your insights have been nothing short of inspiring. From your time in the Indian Navy, leading high stakes operations, to your innovative approach to governance and sustainability, you've shared a wealth of knowledge that will undoubtedly resonate with our audience. We've heard about pivotal moments that shaped your leadership, the challenges you've overcome, and how you're continuing to evolve as a leader even now. It is clear that your commitment to excellence, integrity, and vision has made a lasting impact in both the defense and the commercial sectors. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Same here, sir. To our listeners, I hope today's conversation provided you with valuable insights into leadership, crisis management, and the future of maritime operations. If you found today's episode inspiring, don't forget to share it with your network. And as always, stay tuned for more episodes of FaceTime with Leaders powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm Charu Mehra, and until next time, keep evolving, keep leading, and always stay curious. Thank you.